Vivek is praising Trump, even though he is the one who has made grand wizards of the Ku Klux Klan of old proud. How do we eliminate racial disparities and inequities if we don't talk about race, if we don't identify by race?
In this video, we are going to be covering a recent appearance by the godfather of anti-racism and professional race hustler Ibram X. Kendi on MSNBC with some random talking head. They're basically doing a hit piece on Vivek Ramaswamy talking about some random comments that he made. And the way that this ends, guys, is hilarious. I laughed out loud, so you'll enjoy it. Let's get into the clips.
Joining me now is the aforementioned Dr. Ibram X. Kendi, professor and founding director of the Boston University Center for Anti-Racist Research. Kendi is also a New York Times bestselling author of multiple books, including the New York Times bestseller, How to Be an Anti-Racist. Ibram, you and I have had lots of opportunities to talk. I didn't think this would be one of them where I'm inviting you on air to disavow whether or not you have any affiliations or connections with the KKK. So let's just take the portion of your book that Vivek Ramaswamy quoted. It reads as following: "The remedy for past discrimination is present discrimination. The remedy to present discrimination is future discrimination." End quote. This is from your book. Ramaswamy says that's racism. Explain.
Well, in the book, actually, I define discrimination, and I go to great lengths talking about a scenario in which, for instance, during the COVID pandemic, it was important for us to provide vaccine first for elderly people because they were the most likely to be dying as a result of COVID-19. That can be described as age discrimination, but it actually was an equitable policy that saved lives. And similarly, when Black people are deprived and have been deprived for centuries of rights and resources, how else are we going to create equity if not providing specific resources and rights to them? But of course, that's described as racism, which to me is very different than depriving people of rights, which is the problem we were talking about to begin with.
So guys, in case you didn't catch that one, Ibram X. Kendi is the professor and founding director of the Boston University Center for Anti-Racist Research. Can we all just take a moment to imagine the kinds of middle to upper class white girls and beta males that would study there? Just imagine how much tofu and soy is consumed on a daily basis. I really do wonder what their parties must look like. Anyways, guys, what we are seeing here is the first wave of attacks on Vivek Ramaswamy. Obviously, he is a very, very popular candidate and he's getting a lot of traction at the moment. So the mainstream mafia are going to do what they do best, and they're going to get random little clips and quotes and excerpts and then talk to each other about it and make it seem like he is the devil. But in terms of Kendi's argument, he just makes the same argument that they always make when they've got no one there to challenge their points of view, which is basically that we're not taking anything away from anybody, we're simply giving opportunities to those who haven't had them in the past. Well, Mr. Ibram, the reason why you are able to give those opportunities to the people that haven't had it in the past, whatever that means, is because you are taking it away from people who have earned that. You're not creating new opportunities. You're not creating new positions at universities. You're not creating new jobs. You are simply taking the existing ones and giving them to people who haven't necessarily earned them. And guys, this is why we will never see him on a debate stage with anybody remotely intelligent. His ideas can be dismantled like that. It's child's play. Now on to the next part where Ibram starts to really show his true colors.
What you describe in many cases is the affirmative action that many Republicans have now taken to calling reverse discrimination. Obviously, you've written books on this, so there's always context. It becomes very easy for people like Vivek Ramaswamy and others, he's certainly not the first Republican to do this, to take those words out of context. What do you do about that? You've been writing about this for a really long time. You're actually an expert on this particular topic. How do you deal with the fact that somebody just slings this comment? Really, it's a slur, calling you akin to a grand wizard of the KKK.
Well, I mean, as a scholar, All I can do is set the record straight.
Guys, if you enjoy this video and if you want to help out the channel, hitting that like button helps me to get this video far and wide, and also subscribe to the channel if you want to be a part of the community. Back to the clips.
And set the truth straight. And the fact of the matter is that the modern Klan actually hates me. And you know who the modern Klan loves? The very candidate that Vivek praises every chance he gets, and that's Donald Trump. Who, of course, described modern white supremacists as very fine people, who told them to stand back and stand by, who did nothing as they recruited or as they recruit white teens online, who has done nothing as they terrorize and murder people of color and Jews and Muslims and women. But Vivek is praising Trump, even though he is the one who has made Grand Wizards of the Ku Klux Klan of old proud, and who are being supported by current Grand Wizards of the Ku Klux Klan.
I don't know how people sleep at night creating a career off of lying and race hustling and hiding behind a university and never having to defend your ideas. He just said that Donald Trump called modern white supremacists very fine people. And he said that he did nothing while they recruited teens online and whilst they terrorized and murdered people of color, Jews, Muslims, and women. I mean, okay, firstly, anybody with a modicum of decency who has gone into this topic knows that Donald Trump said that there were fine people on both sides, and he was talking about the people who were peacefully protesting. And in that very same speech, he condemned white supremacists. And Ibram knows this, but he knows as well that if he has an honest conversation about this, then he will just get exposed. So him and his colleagues, for that matter, are trapped in this vicious cycle now, where they will get further and further away from dialogue and deeper into their own echo chamber, because more and more people know that they are charlatans. And moreover, he says that Trump didn't do anything. Well, with that logic, how about when the BLM riots were burning down cities, were causing riots, and were actually recruiting teens at a mass scale into their Marxist revolutionary worldview? What were you doing then, Ibram? Oh, that's right, you were getting record sales on your book, and you were actually encouraging it all. How about all of the black-on-black crime and the inner-city gangs and the fatherlessness epidemic that is actually destroying your community? Well, what were you doing? You're sitting there saying white man bad. It's all the fault of white supremacy. Absolute grifter. Now on to the last part, and pay attention to how the host goes about this one.
Ibram, Ramaswamy doubled down on his comments after the town hall. He said, quote, "The fact that we're taught to see each other on the basis of our genetic attributes is something that would make the old wizards of the KKK proud." Tell me a little about this. This is another sort of oversimplification of a concept. He's saying the idea that people are talked about as black or white creates confusion and is part of the problem.
Well, the fact of the matter is how do we eliminate racism? How do we eliminate racial disparities and inequities where Black people are more likely to die at the hands of police violence, be impoverished, be incarcerated, die from heart disease and cancer, if we don't talk about race, if we don't identify by race, you know? And so that's the fact of the matter. And they want to eliminate conversations about race so that they can hide racism. And if you hide racism, then they're able to hide their policies that are actually causing those disparities and inequities. Or in the case of Vivek, the person, again, he continues to praise Donald Trump, his role in maintaining those inequities.
I'm sure you're not really all that interested in having a debate with Vivek Ramaswamy, but I would really enjoy listening to you debunk some of those ridiculous arguments.
Who is this host, and why is he simping so hard for Kendi? And don't you love how he slips in there, oh, I guess you're not interested in having a debate with Ramaswamy, as if Kendi is like on a higher plateau than him. Really? Why not? Why wouldn't he want to have a debate with one of the biggest names in the country right now, somebody who's potentially going to be president of the United States, and somebody who fundamentally disagrees with your ideas? That seems like exactly the person you would want to debate if you're confident about your ideas, that is. Well, of course he doesn't want to debate him, because Vivek would dance around him like Muhammad Ali in his prime. He would hit him with bigger combinations than a young Mike Tyson. He would get in his head like Roberto Duran did with Sugar Ray Leonard, and he would be absolutely untouchable like Pernell Whitaker. It would be an absolute disaster for Kendi. So he's doing the right thing here, guys, by taking barbs at Vivek through the mainstream mafia and otherwise running and hiding behind his university. So with that, guys, hit those links, bio, and at the top of the comments. If you guys enjoyed that, you want to watch another video, click right here. Until next time, I'm Jake. This is Rattlesnake TV, keeping you armed and dangerous.